everybody, it's Dr. Erin here, one of the good doctors of Abbey Research, and it is Wednesday, November 11th. And for today's Good Doctors Diagnosed, I want to spend a few minutes talking about the problem with video meetings and a couple problems that we have with them and how we can work to find solutions that will help all of our colleagues. In this time of COVID, a lot of people are working from home. A lot of people are working remotely. We're having lots of video meetings on Zoom or Microsoft Teams and other platforms. And two of the biggest complaints that we're seeing from the research that's coming out around this remote work boom is the problem of interruptions during video meetings, interrupting people while they're speaking, and also distractions in the space behind people, or noises from the other people or animals occupying their house. So those are the two biggest complaints that people have with video meetings. And so as a leader or manager, as a person structuring these meetings, organizing them, putting them together, there's a couple of things you can do to mitigate that. One of our biggest lessons always at Abbey Research is communicate. So build a structure for how the meeting is supposed to go, decide on the best way to inject a comment or a question or a thought into the meeting, whether you're using the chat feature, whether you're using the hand raising feature. A lot of these platforms have built-in structures for you to utilize in order to help structure the meeting. And certainly be aware that the idea of interrupting during meetings or the problem of interruptions during meetings disproportionately happens to women and women of color. So keep an eye out for that if it's something that's happening in your in-person or Zoom meetings, but since we're talking about video meetings, we'll stick with that. And talk to your employees about that, and make sure that everyone understands that it's inappropriate to interrupt, and give them the structures and the communication strategies for how to communicate when we're all on different internet bandwidths and trying to make sure that we're all understood in these Zoom meetings. And, on the same idea of having these distractions behind a person or other noises, make sure you communicate about having your mic muted, excuse me, if you're not talking, and make sure there's been adequate tutorials about how to use these platforms so that people know how to use the features like muting and unmuting their mic, raising their hand if they have a comment or a question or something they want to talk about. Because when we're in a room in front of other people, we have all these developed patterns for how we communicate and run meetings and what's appropriate behavior and inappropriate behavior. And as we're going to be in a lot of remote work and video meeting situations for the foreseeable future, now that we have established some of these patterns of working over video meetings, we have to rethink what those patterns of behavior are in person, how they translate, and how they might be different in video meetings. So make sure that you communicate to your staff what the expectations are. Everybody has agreed upon them or is able to give feedback for what works and doesn't work for them. Make sure that you consider gender dynamics, racial dynamics, and how these meetings are running. Also, the expectations of people working within their own home. A lot of women particularly are suffering disproportionately because they are bearing the brunt of childcare now during COVID. So if a crying baby is happening on your meeting, there's a level of empathy and understanding that needs to go into that particular employee's situation, and find a common ground to mitigate those circumstances so that everyone feels comfortable and seen, both emotionally and physically on those video meetings. So those are my tips for structuring video meetings during the times of COVID. And that's everything we have for the Good Doctors Diagnose this week. Have a good week and a healthy and safe week wherever you are in the world. And we will see you guys on Monday. Take care.